So today I am talking with my friend Mindy, and she covers the greater Louisville area in Kentucky, and we are going to learn all about it. But first, hey Mindy, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, friend?
Good, good. Will you please just tell us a little bit about yourself and also kind of let us know how you got into real estate?
Yeah, sure. As you mentioned, I'm Mindy. I am born and bred here in Louisville. I was in technology for about 20 years in the tech startup, mid-stage startup for quite a bit of time. And had always been interested in real estate and really more of like owning real estate more than being a realtor. However, when I moved back here and had moved back to Louisville, I was away in Atlanta for 10 years. When I moved back here, I had a terrible experience with a real estate agent. Yeah, it was just, I felt underrepresented. There was a lot that happened at the final walkthrough, just did not feel like I had great representation when it came to being a buyer. Um, and coupled with the fact that I'd had a previously bad experience with a real estate agent who did not have my interest in mind. And so at that point, I decided if I ever have an opportunity to leave or want to leave the tech space, um, I'm going to do real estate, specifically to help people that I find to be underrepresented. That might be people with lower budgets, first-time home buyers, single moms that are trying to, start again with generational wealth, or even single dads, so that you weren't questioning the motives of what that real estate agent was there. Like, I just wanted to be that realtor that it didn't matter if you were spending $150,000 on a house. Or $1 million on a house, I was going to treat you the same way. And so that's really when I had the opportunity to leave the tech space. I, got into real estate specifically to do that. And today, I mean, that does make up a huge part of my customer base.
I love that so much. That's funny that you mentioned that because when I got into real estate, I did not really have a good perception of real estate agents. And honestly, I think there's still that perception from the public that, that's not a good, all good, right? So I think a new generation needs to change that. We need to come in and change the way that we're perceived and focus on serving people. Like you said, you serve all different clients and those that are underrepresented, which is amazing. I love that. And it's like coming from tech to real estate. How was that?
You know, I was used to having my time abused. The position that I was in from a tech space before real estate, I managed a development team that was in Australia, and then I managed a development team that was in the United States. Um, and then they announced that they were going to launch our product in the UK. And if you know
Mhm.
anything about time zones, that's like a 18-hour, 19-hour day.
Oh,
And that really wasn't going to work for me. So,
yeah.
um, so it was definitely a transition. But at least I know that like I, my time isn't always going to be my time. There are going to be people that need me on time, like on a time that is better for them. So that wasn't as much of a shock for me. The only thing that I do miss is sometimes I miss using that side of my brain. Like I don't
Mm.
feel like I use the technical side of my brain that I used in when I was in tech. I don't feel like I scratched that itch, but other than that, like I think I was prepared to have to be, almost on call 24/7.
Ooh, and we are. And
Yeah.
that's we could talk a lot about that.
And
But
I don't care
also
what
you
anybody says, boundaries, like create your bound. I don't care what anybody says. Like that's such a falsity.
right, we're working all the time. If you're watching this video, we're always working.
Yeah.
Um, but I also want to mention, part of your real estate journey, you're an investor.
Yeah.
Tell us
I do.
about it.
Yeah, I have long-term investment property, and then also September of last year we broke into the short-term rental
Mm,
space, and I have property in Hilton Head, South
mm.
Carolina, which
I love that.
I love. Oh, it's my favorite place ever. My husband and I got married there.
Oh,
And I mean, that's definitely been interesting because it's, hot, like high turnover. I mean, like our property is rented pretty back to back, thank gosh. But and then my tenants, my long-term tenants, they've been in there for 3.5, almost 4 years. So it's definitely a different interaction point. But yeah, I'm always looking for property to purchase that makes sense. It's just
well,
I really like that. I mean, I love investing in property.
and a lot of people watching this video, may be interested in, areas in Kentucky. So let's talk about what areas you cover. We said Greater Louisville, but what does that mean?
Yeah. So, I'm going to start with some controversy, like right off the bat. People are going to you're going to get hate mail about this.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm telling you, this is very controversial, Jennifer. So, I do serve the greater Louisville area. People are going to tell me I don't know anything about Louisville because I pronounce it Louisville. Anybody that's from here will say if you're from here, you pronounce it Louisville. I'd like to go on record to say we were named after King Louis the 16th. We were not named after King Louis the 16th. So the correct pronunciation is Louisville. I was born here. I was born at Baptist East Hospital. I can present my birth certificate if anybody wants to challenge that. So that is a very controversial thing. So I do serve Greater Louisville. A lot of people don't realize that Louisville kind of annexed and made kind of like a metro area, which is like Jefferson County. And so Louisville is a huge geographic city.
Mhm.
We have like all of these different kind of suburbs and things like that. So we really define, at least I define, I don't want to speak for everybody. I define my geographic area that I cover more so by county than by city because it's so like we did this whole thing and it's so huge. So I serve primarily Jefferson County, which is your main metro area of Louisville, Oldham County, which is a suburb out east, Bullock County, Henry County, Shelby County, and Spencer County. So it's all kind of around the Waterston Expressway, which is kind of what defines the greater Louisville area in my mind. So I really work in those surrounding rural counties and then also the city of Louisville. So that's really what I do. If somebody really needs me to, like my sister purchased a home in Northern Kentucky and she didn't want to work with anybody else, I will go in other parts of the state if I have somebody that wants to work with me specifically. But I do like to be a subject matter expert, and I don't feel that you can be a subject matter expert of your whole state personally.
Oh, I definitely agree. I do. That's for sure. You really have to focus on your area. Now, as you know, so I'm located about 2 hours from you in Indianapolis. So there are some suburbs actually that are in Indiana. For example, Jeffersonville, I would consider a suburb of, Louisville.
Mhm.
So obviously we are very well connected. And if someone did want to buy, because that's really technically, I would say that area, but it is over the state, right across the state line, you would have someone that you could refer them to that could help them, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I work closely with a couple different Indiana agents that will serve Jeffersonville, Indiana, New Albany, Indiana,
Hmm.
Floyd's Knobs, things like that, Charlestown. So absolutely, because I mean, I run into that here is that I have clients that might want to look in Kentucky and in Indiana. So I do partner quite closely with a couple different Indiana agents that could serve any clients that would want to be in that area.
Okay, good. Because yeah, I went to Jeffersonville. I've been a few times, but it's actually really cute. And
Mhm.
I and it's funny how you said it was controversial. controversial because I'm going to say Louisville no matter what anyone tells me because I'm not Southern and I'm not going to say Louisville.
Right. You sound
I
like you
don't
have rocks
care
in your
what
mouth.
you
You're right. It's like you
I
said
don't
that.
care what you say.
I know. Like I'll see TikToks of people saying, you're not from Louisville, from Louisville. I can't even say Louisville.
Yeah.
I can't even say it. And I'm like, that's just not true, but okay. Funny, my mom actually was born in Jeffersonville, Indiana. So my grandparents were in
Oh.
there, lived there my whole life. And so I know Jeff pretty well because we would always go over there. But yeah, my mom is a Hoosier.
And yes, they walk across that really cool bridge that you
The
guys
Watson
have
Bridge,
because
yeah.
it goes right into Kentucky. So it's really cool and those concerts and things. So yeah, I love that. Well, so let's talk about a few different groups that are kind of moving all across the country. But first, what's going on in the real estate market in your area? Just kind of give us a general overview of what someone could expect if they were looking to buy or sell. And this is June 2025.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have the same problem as most places around the country. Our inventory is still not at a neutral place. For us to be in a neutral market, we need between 6 to 8,000 houses. At this point, we are still not, not close to that. Our inventory has gone up. So, there is a bit more competition in the marketplace when it comes to actual houses that are available. But from my experience, we're kind of transitioning into a market that is a little bit the buyer has a little bit more power. I wouldn't say personally that it's equal. I think houses that are priced correctly will see multiple offer situations and you might go over asking. If there's houses that either it's the seller thinks that they still should be able to get 2020 or 2021 prices that they refuse to go kind of to that realistic restart. I mean, those houses are sitting. We're definitely seeing houses on the market longer. But I think you still need to be prepared to put in a strong offer and be as, as flexible as you can. And really lean on your agent to know, like, is this the right price for that house? I mean, I'm running comps on pretty much any house my clients are looking at just to make sure that, where are we in those comps and like, is this the right price for those houses? Whereas before, we would go see them, everything would be fine. And then I would run comps if they liked them. And so it's definitely still competitive, but it's more competitive if the house is priced correctly.
Yes, and I think that that is really important for anyone watching this video. Um, the number one mistake I'm seeing, because we're seeing so many price reductions, is people not pricing it correctly from the beginning. The home needs to be priced for the condition that it's in, and unfortunately, some of these conditions are not what they think they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think that that's the problem. That's a problem, but like that's our struggle with being agents and like kind of, the last thing we want to do is go into a house and tell somebody like, hey, your house is, dated, it needs X, it needs Y. Like, but our job is to set the appropriate expectations and, just because you want me to tell you that your house is worth $450,000 doesn't mean your house is actually worth $450,000. And you might feel that it is, but unfortunately, your feelings in this large of a transaction are really secondary to reality. And, that I think personally, is one of the hardest parts of our job is kind of telling people like the reality is not like your reality is a bit skewed.
Yes, and we have to base everything on facts, not emotions, like you stated.
Right.
And, that is very difficult. And honestly, sometimes it may come to, well, we may not be a good match. Because for me personally, I feel like you are the same way. I'm not going to be able to list something that's not going to be able to sell because we are here to help you sell. So yes, pricing it right from the beginning is so important. I really think that. So yeah, it sounds like things are similar in Indy, kind of the same way. So give me an example, just for your general area. What would you say that the median price would be?
Oh, girl, we are all over the place. I think, I mean, we are all over the place.
Sure.
I can't remember. I think the last stat that I saw, I think it was like between 275 and 325. I
Sure.
think like 250 to 325, I think is the last stat that I saw.
Hmm.
But I mean, it is literally pricing in this market is so all over the place. And a lot of it is due to the fact that we became this like ginormous Jefferson County metro. And so, I mean, you have houses that have been in historically depressed areas that, people are trying to revitalize and you know, that shooting up prices and houses in those areas to be astronomical. And then you have areas that historically have been, higher on the higher end of the price range. And like those are actually coming down a little bit from what I'm seeing. So, I mean, I would say that you're probably in that 250 to 325. Don't quote me on that because I mean, I'm sure we have an exact number in Greater Metro, but
Sure.
I would say that's what I'm seeing.
Hmm. Yes, that sounds about right. Here in Indy, we're at 260 is the median price in the city. In the suburbs, it's a little higher, probably where you are. We're about 460 in the suburbs. But yes, and one of your points, yeah, during COVID and all those crazy times, inflation, the home prices were artificially inflated. So now it's kind of back to reality. Um, so since you're an investor, let's start talking about investors first. And if there was an investor watching this video, are there good opportunities in your area for people to come in from other states or even locally and invest?
Yeah, so I'm the worst person to be talking about other people investing their money in houses um, because I'm terrible at it as far as like being able to guide. So I think that there's definitely opportunities if somebody has the capital to come in um, and do some light flipping and get a great off-market deal. Um, we do have some, challenges with conditional use permits for short-term rentals. I mean, one of the main reasons I went to Hilton Head for an STR was because I couldn't find anything here in Louisville that actually met the requirement that I needed it to meet in order to make money on it. So I think if you're a savvy investor, I would not, if this was my first investment property, I would say Louisville would be a hard place personally to come into and be like, yep, immediately going to do that. I think if you're a savvy investor and you've done it several times, whether it's a flip or fix and hold, like I think they could probably do okay in this market. But I do think that it's a bit more of a challenge, unless you do work with an agent who's able to find you off-market deals. Because the things that are on the multiple listing service, I don't think there's enough margin in there to really, really kill it. Now, there are going to be investors that are going to tell me that I'm 100% wrong, and I wouldn't argue with them. I think, but it's going to be a savvy investor that knows how to do that and that knows what they're doing. I think that would probably be the biggest thing that I would say.
I would say one thing to add to that is because Indy and where you are pretty similar, it's like long gone are the days where, they're trying to get 1% or whatever the one. Listen, those days are few and far between because uh the even the homes in the areas you were talking about that are trying to be revitalized and stuff, those used to be quite a bit cheaper. Now they're not. So it's pretty hard to get that 1% rule as an investor. So I
Yeah.
totally understand. I know there's still places out there like California where they think everything that we have is cheap. So yeah, more power to you if you
Yeah,
are.
I mean, and that's the thing.
um,
I mean, it's exactly what you're used to. I mean, I know several of my colleagues buy properties in Indiana, Jeffersonville, New Albany, and they're actually, doing very well with them. And I still think you can find those gems here. But again, I think you have to be a bit of a seasoned investor personally. Than coming in and just thinking like you could do this immediately.
sure, of course. Well, since I kind of know your price point, let's talk about first time buyers. So honestly, the price point in the Midwest is pretty much cheaper than anywhere else, honestly. I mean, I know agents in the Northeast, very expensive, California out west, expensive in the South. Even some places in the South are more expensive than we are here in the Midwest, which is a great opportunity for first time buyers. However, do you see that first time buyers are kind of having to look a little bit further out to get a better deal, you know?
100%, 100%. Um, Either further out, not towards the east end, but like further out towards like the south end and things like that. Or, in surrounding areas, they could typically find something around the Churchill Downs area, which is just, south of downtown. Um, so yes. And you're looking at like that 225 to 250 price point. I mean, I have a first time home buyer right now that we're looking up to 200. And I mean, and it's a challenge. I mean, it's not an easy price point to find a home in. Um, so I think there's also that idea of like expectations there too, of like what you're ultimately going to get now for $200,000.
Yes.
I mean, even just as short of like the house, one of my long-term rental is in a very, very high demand area in St. Matthews. And I purchased that house 8 years ago. And I paid $210,000 for it.
Oh.
Um, that house appraised at 304.
Ooh.
I mean, that's eight
Wow.
years. I mean, it
It's really
prays for,
good.
like 90,000. I mean, like that's insane.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
and
It
it's a
is insane.
two bedroom, one bath house. Like it's not,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, so there's a little bit of a weirdness there for first time home buyers.
Yes, I agree. Now, when we talk about first-time home buyers, are you seeing a lot of them move toward maybe condos or townhouses? What do you have, as far as inventory goes with those? Do you have a lot of them sitting, or what's the situation?
So condos are hard, I personally think in general, because you a lot of times the first time home buyers, they might be using FHA and or is the condo complex FHA approved, and so you have that challenge. Funny thing is, I've never sold in my entire time selling houses. I've never sold a condo to a first time home buyer.
Oh, okay.
Um, Ever. Yeah, they always want yards because they have a dog.
Yes.
And so I find myself looking for houses for dogs more so than I have looking for the people that are buying it. Like they just want a yard for their dog.
Yes.
So I mean I've found that most of them want that yard for entertaining and to be able to be outside and have their kids outside and things like that. So yeah, I haven't because I mean, let's be honest, like once you get into that HOA and the HOA maintenance fees and where pricing is, a lot of times you're going to be, at a higher price point anyway. So, but yeah, that's funny. I've never thought of, I've never sold a condo to a first time home buyer.
I think it's funny
Yeah.
because I don't have kids, and I feel like for some reason I like people who don't have kids are attracted to work with me. And that's who I find I've helped with condos because a lot of them, if you know, maybe they're first time home buyers, but now the first time home buyer age, the average is 38, so it's not like
Yes.
as young anymore. So some of these people are like, screw the yard work, and all that. Here, and only I'm talking about Indianapolis, some of the older townhouses and condos seem to be we have some under 200, which is amazing. So
Oh,
yeah, with the
wow.
HOA fee, it can get a little weird. And yes, I think ever since that incident in Miami with the condo collapse, banks have been a lot more strict. They're looking into the reserves for each neighborhood. So it is difficult with FHA and whatnot. Um, Now, let's talk about new construction. Do you guys have a lot of new construction since you have a lot of land kind of in the outskirts?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the land has been developed. I mean, Oldham County, my parents, when they built a house in Oldham County, in 96, because it was the year I graduated yeah, 96. And it still felt like you were coming far out in 96. I live in Oldham County now. And it still feels far out for me just because I don't know, I'm used to being closer into the city. But I mean, there's neighborhoods all out here, whereas, 20 years ago. Like there was, I mean, there what 30 years ago there wasn't. So we do have a lot of new construction. I mean, we have obviously the big builders that, the Pulte homes, the Fisher homes, the Elite homes. So
Mhm.
we do have a lot of those bigger builders that are, D.R. Horton building in neighborhoods out here. And you can get new construction, still what I would find reasonable in these areas that are still convenient. We always joke that everything in Louisville is 20 minutes. Like, I don't care where you are for some reason. It always takes 20 minutes to get everywhere. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. And so, you still are within 20 minutes of, your areas to have good restaurants and things like that.
Mhm.
So we do have quite a bit of new construction around the city that is still convenient to, your Krogers and your Walmarts and Costco and things like that. Although we do only have two Costcos, which I think is a travesty.
We don't have, it's funny, we have one on the south side of town, one on the north side of town, and then they just are building one out in the suburbs. So it's like weird, like maybe, because they want it to be as busy as humanly possible on the weekend. So everyone from everywhere on the earth comes there.
Yeah, that's how we are. We have one on the east end of town and one on like kind of like the southish end of town. But yeah, I still do feel like it's a travesty that we only have two Costco's.
I know it is. And honestly, we have only two Sam's Clubs as well, which whatever. Anyways.
Right.
Okay, that's really good information. Lots of new construction. Here we have tons of new construction going up everywhere. We have a lot of land on the outskirts as Indy gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you have to go farther out. Um, Now, here's my question. So, when you think of your area, where are people? Do you see people moving from certain areas of the United States? Like, say someone was moving from out of state. Have you seen, are they coming from certain areas that you've seen or for different reasons for jobs, or is there certain industries that they're coming to your city for?
Yeah, so UPS is a big hub for us here in
Mm.
Louisville. So, we do have quite a bit of, quite a bit of folks relocating here for UPS. Um, it's funny, the majority of my relocations have all been coming from Florida.
Oh.
I mean, I have one that just moved from Florida and just actually got here yesterday. So that's where I've personally seen a lot of folks coming from is Florida. I mean, Louisville is an interesting place in the fact that it's kind of like a little big city. Like we have a great food scene, we have, a great music scene and festivals and things like that. But it's also a fantastic place to raise a family. So, one of the biggest jokes I always have is like if a guy meets a girl and she's from Louisville, he pretty much just has to resign the fact that he's going to move to Louisville eventually. And that is typically the case. So like you'll find that if anybody is from, like if a woman is from Louisville, she wants to get back here for some reason. I mean, I'm like a prime candidate of that. So, but I think a lot of people are just drawn here because it's a great place, like just in general, like very neutral place to raise a family. Cost of living is not enormous. But yeah, a lot of folks that have been Florida, strangely enough.
That is so true when you said that, because there were like about 6 months ago, I was in a neighborhood doing an open house and I was going door to door, kind of meeting the neighbors. And three people in that same neighborhood all moved from Florida, stating the homeowners insurance costs there were outrageous, which we know they are. It was very difficult to keep living somewhere where their home was being damaged or whatnot, due to increasing global changes and lots of storms and things like that. I mean, here's the thing. Right now, I think I was talking to some people in Florida, they have lots and lots of inventory. So it may be a good time down there. It's more of a buyer's market. However, it's really tough because like people can't get approved for insurance. Some people don't even have insurance. It's crazy. So when they're
Yeah.
moving up to the Midwest, it's like, wow, this is the easy way of life. We don't have the traffic. Like in the Midwest in general, it's like we don't have the traffic they do, but it's an easy way of life. And when I look at your city, I'm like, it's easy to live there. You can get places quickly. It's not a lot of stress, right?
Right. I mean, my client that just moved here, she's in Miami with her family, And so when we were talking about what she wanted, she's like, as long as it's an hour and a half, like, or less commute, I'm like, no.
You'll
I was like,
you'll be in Nashville. No, I'm kidding. I don't think
yeah,
you will be,
right.
but
I
yeah.
considered Indianapolis.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah, again, I mean, yes, we have traffic, but I mean, you're not looking at an hour and a half. Like that's not,
No.
but it just was funny because I was like, no, we're not going to put you an hour and a half from your job.
Oh,
Like it's not
right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like every city has traffic, but we in the Midwest, it's really easy. Like you said, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, maybe a little bit of rush hour for a few minutes, but it's like
yeah,
nothing like these big cities, which is awesome. So,
yeah.
yeah, great quality of life. I urge people to move to the Midwest. They don't know what they're missing. I mean, look at us.
Oh,
We're friendly, we're fun. We
right. We
eat
have
corn,
seasons.
we
We
have
have
seasons. I
seasons.
mean, listen. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have seasons. So if someone was looking to move to your city, for example, of course we know about the Kentucky Derby, okay? But if
Sure
someone didn't
now.
know your area, exactly, you're there now. If someone didn't know your area, what is there to do? Because you're close to a lot of fun things.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, home of the Kentucky Derby, this city complete and totally morphs. For the first Saturday in May, for the 3 weeks prior to the Derby, the Kentucky Derby Festival happens. And so there's all kinds of stuff going on in this city. But we do have other things. I mean, we are ha very closely located to the bourbon trail and like the bourbon industry. If you like to visit bourbon distilleries, there's several companies that'll take you on tours to the various bourbon distilleries. I mean, we are the home of the Louisville Slugger Bat, so we have a museum for the Louisville Slugger Museum here. We have a great children's museum. Again, I think that we have a great foodie scene. We have fantastic restaurants here. We are constantly trying new places. So there's definitely that. We do have Bourbon and Beyond music festival and things like that. So I'm in Louder Than Life, which is a huge music festival as well. So we do have a very vibrant music scene. We have areas like Nulu, which is downtown that's got was a revitalized part of downtown that's got shops where you can walk. Bardstown Road in the Highlands, which is historic areas, and like it's interesting. 40205, that zip code in the Highlands. If you look back at the 2008 recession, 40205 was probably one of the least impacted zip codes in the 2008 recession. So the home values in that area actually stayed pretty steady versus a rapid decline. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, and so it's not necessarily a walkable city, but you can go to walkable areas and have a walkable experience, like Crescent Hill, the Highlands, even parts of St. Matthews. So I mean, it kind of there's stuff for everybody here. And
Mhm.
like I said, we do have seasons. So if you want to see some snow, we're gonna get snow. If you want to be by the pool, we have a month and a half, 2 months of ridiculously hot weather. So, I mean, we kind of have it all here, I think.
Exactly. And also, you're very central. That's another thing about Indiana, Kentucky. We're centrally located, so you can get to Nashville in what, 2.5 or 3 hours, two and a half, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Yeah, you can
Okay.
get Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Columbus, Nashville. I mean, you're drivable and not spending a whole day in a car to a lot of other great places.
Exactly. And you forgot to mention that you guys have a Bojangles. And let me tell you something. Okay.
Ooh.
Let me tell you something right now. I love Bojangles, and so when I used to go visit my sister in Alabama or like the South, she lives in Huntsville. That's where I like, and that is the closest one to our home, exit 121.
Mhm. Yep.
I'll never
Do you
forget.
like, what do you like do you like the blueberry biscuit or do you like the chicken on a biscuit? Like, what is your Bojangles order?
Are you kidding me? I love all of it. I want sweet tea. Give me the blueberry, the bowberry, whatever.
Yeah.
Chicken biscuit. I mean, the hash browns. Listen, I don't know what it is, but I love it and I'm all about it. And you have like anytime we go south, which is a lot, exit 121. And then also it's so funny because south of your area, we always stop at this exit called Rock City. Always.
Yeah.
Okay. And don't ask me why. I don't know. We just know where we want to stop, and like so, we always drive through. We always stop. We go to different places. It's funny because at one time we um tried to be vegan just to see how we liked it. For it was actually for probably about 2 years, and you have some of the best vegan food I've ever seen in my life. I'm not kidding. And I think that people, if they tried it, they would not believe it tastes so amazing. Yes.
Oh, huh.
Yes, come
Yeah,
on. I'm going to give you the name.
Bojangles. I am a sucker for a Bojangles chicken and a biscuit, not even gonna lie.
Mm.
When I was working in an office downtown, we would sometimes like we would be craving Bojangles and we would drive like the 40 minutes to go out to go to the Bojangles because it's so delicious.
It's so good. And why do they have one randomly there and then the only other ones are deep in the south? Why? I don't know. And
Yeah.
soon there's going to be a Bucky's in what is it, Bowling Green? So you're not even that far. You're so lucky.
Yeah, yeah. The Bucky's, well, there's a Bucky's that is on the way to Nashville. So there is
Oh,
a
okay.
Bucky's like
Oh,
very,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
It's gonna be, I can't remember where they said the other Bucky's is coming. But Bucky's is a whole new level. Like I am a fan of that as well.
Okay,
So
okay. We need to go on a road trip. Bojangles,
yeah,
Bucky's, Rock City, only because they have this gas station that has a Sonic in it. I don't know. Listen,
yeah.
I know what I know. Okay. And I
I get
know
it.
that your area is awesome. There's so much to do. We went to the Muhammad Ali Museum one time. Like, there's just so much to do and so much to see. So, if someone was looking to move to your area, one final thought. Um, besides calling you first, what are some of the upcoming neighborhoods that people might want to take a look at?
Yeah, my dog's pretty vocal about this as well, if you can hear in the background.
I can't even hear it.
Yeah, my dog has got a very big opinion. So I would say I don't know as far as like up and coming neighborhoods, but I would say, we have a neighborhood that's going to fit whatever your family wants. If you
Mhm.
want walkability, I'm going to show you Crescent Hill. I'm going to show you the Highlands. If you want, larger lots, I'm going to show you Crestwood. I'm going to show you Fisherville. I'm going to show you Taylorsville. We are going to have a neighborhood that fits whatever somebody is looking for. So, it's more of just making sure that you have your couple things that are so important to you so that we can find the part of town that is going to be the best for you. Because each little pocket has its own little gems. And like, I think that that's the greatest thing about Louisville is
Mhm.
that, the focus isn't necessarily on each little area. Each little area has its own focus. And so, you can find your place here. And I think that's what I love about Louisville is that if you tell me four or five things that you want, like I'll be able to point you to areas that are going to hit on the majority, if not all of those points. And as somebody again who was born and raised here, I mean, I did live in Cincinnati for 10 years. I lived in Atlanta for 10 years. So it's not that I've been in this like bubble of Louisville. But coming back here, it just reminds you and makes you realize like how great of a city we have. Is it perfect? No, but we have a great city and we have a city that, typically does embrace people as they come into town.
Which I love. So, if anyone watching this video wants to get connected to Mindy, we'll put her information below. And of course, she's the expert in the area. She grew up here. She can tell you how to say it, and she
Yeah.
will tell you. She will. She will.
Yeah, and you can give my phone number to anybody who tells you that you say it wrong because it's actually Louisville.
Listen,
So
I'm on your side, and I
thanks.
believe you. We're not going to say it in a Southern manner. Sorry, we're
We're
not.
we're not
Thank
out.
you. Thank you so much for doing this video. This was so awesome, and we got to learn so much. So thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate you too.
Thanks a lot.